The story of consistency in the United States begins quietly, not with dramatic change, but with small, repeated actions that add up over time. In many American communities, success is rarely seen as sudden. It is often viewed as the gradual result of stable habits, steady routines, and decisions made one small step at a time. Across workplaces, schools, and industries, the same pattern shows up. Progress is built slowly, and results come after prolonged periods of steady effort. The people who move forward usually follow predictable routines, rather than unpredictable bursts of activity. This is the practical reality, shaping many outcomes in the United States. A society built on schedules, systems, deadlines, and long-term planning. While consistency does not guarantee success for everyone, it remains one of the most recognized factors, aligning with research and workplace expectations. This introduction sets the stage for a deeper look into how consistency interacts with the broader fabric of American life. In the U.S., measurable outcomes often guide how progress is assessed. Work performance is monitored, attendance recorded, deadlines enforced, and productivity reviewed regularly. These systems create an environment where repeated, reliable actions carry significant weight. 1. Workplace expectations across many industries. Employers emphasize punctuality and dependability. A consistent worker is often seen as reliable, and dependability is a key factor in hiring and promotions. This is backed by surveys indicating that employers frequently rank reliability among the top qualities they seek in employees. Consistency appears in showing up on time, completing tasks steadily, communicating regularly, and maintaining predictable performance. These expectations fit with the broader structure of the U.S. economy, which relies heavily on schedules and time-based coordination. 2. Education and skill development. Educational systems in the U.S. also reinforce consistency. Assignments follow weekly cycles, attendance impacts grades, and progress is measured through ongoing evaluations. Students who adopt stable study routines tend to perform more predictably over time. Research from various universities shows that distributed practice, small repeated learning sessions, is more effective than last. Minute cramming. This approach is widely accepted in cognitive science. Skill building in technical fields also depends on repetition. Whether in programming, engineering, medical training, or manual crafts, repeated practice enhances competence. 3. Financial behaviors. Financial institutions in the U.S. operate on long-term schedules, monthly bills, credit scoring, insurance payments, and mortgage installments. These systems reward consistent behavior, making on-time payments, maintaining stable income, adhering to predictable budgets, and engaging in long-term savings. Credit scores are a clear example, calculated based on years of consistent payment history. Irregular or missed payments have measurable consequences. 4. Health and lifestyle patterns. Public health research in the United States consistently shows that steady habits, sleep routines, exercise, and nutrition significantly contribute to long-term well-being. Lifestyle studies regularly indicate that small, repeated health choices often have a greater long-term impact than intense but inconsistent efforts. These findings are widely accepted across health institutions. 5. Cultural reinforcement. American culture frequently emphasizes stories of discipline and long-term effort. Books, documentaries, and interviews often depict careers built gradually over time. While these stories vary widely, they commonly highlight persistence. This does not mean everyone experiences equal outcomes. Structural factors, economic conditions, and personal circumstances also influence results. However, consistency remains recognized as a universal factor, a trait that interacts with these broader forces. The role of consistency in shaping success in the United States has been discussed from multiple perspectives. Perspective 1. Some analysts suggest that consistency functions as a stabilizing force. It helps individuals navigate complex systems and reduces volatility that can make progress unpredictable. Perspective 2. Others argue that consistency alone is not enough. They point to structural barriers, economic inequality, limited access to education, or lack of opportunities that can restrict progress regardless of personal discipline. Perspective 3. It remains debated whether consistency should be seen as the main driver of success or just one important factor among many. Different studies emphasize various influences: environment, social networks, financial resources, or timing. Perspective 4. Some workplace researchers note that consistent behavior helps individuals build professional credibility. However, they also stress that opportunity structures, such as management practices or organizational culture. Perspective 5. Education experts highlight repeated study habits as a strong predictor of academic performance, but they also acknowledge that access to resources, quality of instruction, and home environment influence outcomes. Together, these perspectives depict a complex picture. Consistency matters, but does not operate in isolation. Consistency influences many practical aspects across the United States. It interacts with workplace systems, educational routines, financial structures, and cultural expectations. Its influence is visible, but not absolute. It creates possibilities, but does not eliminate challenges. As this chapter concludes, the central question remains: what will history ultimately say about this chapter? Financial discipline in the United States often seems simple at first glance: a budget, a plan, a routine. But beneath these small actions, there is a deeper structure. Money in America flows through systems that react to patterns over long periods of time, such as credit scores, tax filings, savings rates, and interest accumulation. Each of these measures behavioral signals over months, years, or even decades, not just isolated events. This chapter examines how consistency influences financial stability and how steady habits shape long-term outcomes within the U.S. economic system. The tone is calm, observations neutral, and the pace slow, because financial discipline is inherently a slow process. In the United States, financial discipline revolves around predictable cycles, monthly payments, recurring bills, scheduled obligations, and documented financial history. These cycles influence many aspects of daily life. 1. The role of predictable income in the U.S. Financial stability often begins with a reliable income. Employers typically pay weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, providing a foundation for planning expenses like rent, utilities, insurance, and transportation. While a steady income does not solve all financial issues, it creates a structure that makes planning feasible. Studies from various American institutions widely regard income stability as essential for long-term financial health, and these findings are publicly available and widely accepted. 2. Bills and recurring payments. Most American households handle recurring payments, such as rent or mortgage, electricity, water, internet, health insurance, car payments, and phone service. These payments follow strict schedules, and missing a payment can lead to fees, penalties, or service disruptions. Therefore, consistent financial behavior, paying on time, is crucial. Many companies offer reduced fees or lower rates to customers with a history of timely payments, and these practices are well documented across utilities and credit institutions. 3. Credit scores and financial patterns. The U.S. credit system assesses financial discipline through historical data. Scores are influenced by payment history, credit utilization, length of credit accounts, types of credit, and new inquiries. The most significant factor in all major scoring models is consistent, on-time payments. This isn't about predicting future behavior, but about applying a widely known formula. A credit score measures consistency, not wealth. Small, repeated actions like paying bills on time can affect long-term financial access, including apartment approvals, car loans, credit card approvals, and sometimes employment background checks. 4. Saving habits and long-term impact. Savings habits in the U.S. vary considerably. Financial institutions often promote emergency funds, retirement contributions, automatic savings transfers, and routine budgeting. Research from public financial education groups shows that small automated deposits tend to be more sustainable than irregular lump sums. This approach is generally accepted and aligns with behavioral economics principles. Financial discipline typically develops from predictable routines rather than sudden decisions. 5. Taxes and documentation. The U.S. tax system requires annual reporting. Individuals document income, deductions, and expenses. Accuracy is crucial, and consistent record-keeping helps keep the process manageable. For many, financial discipline includes Vendor tracking expenses, storing receipts, vendor reviewing income statements, preparing annual filings on time. The system rewards organized, consistent documentation. It doesn't rely on sudden effort, but on gathering small, accurate details over time. 6. Cost of living and budgeting. The cost of living varies across the United States. Urban areas usually have higher housing and transportation costs, while rural regions may have lower expenses, but fewer job opportunities. Financial discipline interacts with these factors through FIVI monitoring costs, FIVI categorizing spending, FIVI monthly budgeting, for the long-term budgeting tools, whether digital apps, spreadsheets, or paper logs, work best when used consistently. This aligns with financial education advice found in many public resources. 7. Insurance and risk management. Insurance is a key part of the U.S. financial system. Health, auto, home, and renter. Insurance are common. Premiums, deductibles, and coverage levels are influenced by predictable behavior. For example, auto insurance in many states considers driving history, a record built over years of safe driving. Financial discipline goes beyond spending and saving. It includes planning for unexpected events with structured risk management. The role of financial discipline in achieving success in the U.S. is viewed from different angles. Perspective 1. Some experts say that long-term financial stability depends heavily on consistent habits. They point to credit systems, savings routines, and bill-paying cycles as core parts of economic life. Perspective 2. Others believe that financial discipline is only part of a bigger picture. They highlight external factors like wages, regional living costs, access to affordable housing, and healthcare expenses that can impact financial outcomes regardless of personal discipline. Perspective 3. It is also debated whether financial discipline alone can ensure long-term progress, or if broader structural changes are more influential. Different studies show different influences, and the debate continues among economists. Perspective 4. Some financial educators focus on habit formation, the idea that stable routines support long-term resilience. However, they recognize that emergencies, job loss, or medical bills can disrupt even the most disciplined individuals. Perspective 5. Researchers sometimes point out patterns. People who automate savings or payments tend to stick to them longer, but these are averages, not guarantees. Together, these perspectives form a balanced, widely accepted view. Financial discipline matters, but it interacts with many other factors. Financial discipline in the U.S. is shaped by structure, monthly cycles, recurring obligations, records, and documented patterns. It's not instant, and it doesn't operate without outside conditions, but it remains a foundation for many financial outcomes. As this chapter ends, the question remains, what will history ultimately say about this chapter? A mindset develops slowly, not through a single moment, but through repeated ways of thinking, repeated ways of responding, and repeated interpretations of experience. In the United States, discussions about success often return to a similar idea: how people think affects how they act, and how they act, over long periods of time, shapes their direction. The mindset associated with progress in America is not built on motivation alone. It is built on patterns, habits, and attitudes that remain steady even when progress is quiet. This chapter looks at these patterns from a calm, factual, and analytical point of view. Mindset is a broad subject. Many definitions exist, but within American research and workplace culture, certain themes appear repeatedly. 1. Long-term orientation. Workplace and educational systems in the United States frequently reward people who think in long cycles. Semester planning, foodie career development, 2B project timelines. Year financial goals. A long-term orientation does not guarantee success, but it allows individuals to navigate systems designed around time. Public career studies in the U.S. often highlight that individuals who maintain long-term perspectives tend to experience more predictable progress. This is not a prediction, but an observation found in widely available research. 2. Adaptability and continuous learning. Many industries in the United States change quickly. Technology shifts, new standards emerge, and job requirements evolve. Because of this, continuous learning appears frequently in American career development literature. Documented studies from universities and professional organizations emphasize the value of updating skills through training programs, certifications, fortifications, online courses, 4D workplace development resources. Adaptability is not treated as a sudden transformation. 3. Problem solving through process. American workplace culture often encourages structured problem solving, identifying the issue, FIDI gathering data, FIDI evaluating options, FIDI implementing solutions, FIDI reviewing results. This method resembles scientific reasoning. It is slow, iterative, and grounded in observable facts. This approach appears in engineering, business, healthcare, and education. It is widely accepted and taught through standard curricula. 4. Responsibility and personal accountability. A widely recognized principle in US workplace expectations is accountability. This does not imply moral judgment. It refers to, first to, taking responsibility for assigned tasks, 14. Reporting progress, 50. Acknowledging errors, 50. Completing commitments. Many employers include accountability as a formal evaluation metric. This is publicly documented in HR materials and corporate policies. Accountability reinforces consistency, and consistency reinforces credibility. 5. Attention to process, not just outcome. American productivity frameworks often emphasize process over immediate results. This is reflected in 40 daily routines, 1D workflow systems, 4G project management tools, 4D time-based tracking. The mindset behind these systems suggests that progress accumulates when the process is stable. The outcome matters, but the routine sustains it. 6. Viewing setbacks as data. Research in educational psychology, widely published and publicly accessible, describes an approach where difficulties are treated as information rather than personal failure. The concept is sometimes referred to as growth-oriented interpretation. It is not universal, but appears frequently in American pedagogy and training programs. The principle is simple: a setback shows what needs adjustment, not what is impossible. This mindset supports long-term consistency. 7. Internal motivation through purpose and structure. Motivation, in the U.S. context, is often discussed as a blend of pet and personal values, FIDI practical routines. FIDI practical routines. Measurable goals. Many public studies note that routines tend to sustain motivation longer than emotion alone. Emotional motivation fluctuates, but structured motivation, rooted in purpose and clear systems, tends to remain more stable. These findings are observational, not predictive. 8. The role of time management. American productivity culture places significant emphasis on time management. This includes the PA scheduling, 4G prioritization, focus windows, the D deadline tracking. Time management frameworks, such as calendars, planners, and digital tools, are widely used across workplaces and universities. The mindset behind them is consistent. Order creates space for progress. Mindset and success in the United States are examined from multiple perspectives. Perspective 1. Some analysts suggest that mindset plays a crucial role in shaping behavior. They argue that long-term thinking, resilience, and structured planning significantly influence how individuals navigate opportunities and challenges. Perspective 2. Others argue that mindset alone cannot overcome external barriers. They point to documented inequalities, resource limitations, and systemic constraints that influence outcomes regardless of individual attitudes. Perspective 3. It remains debated whether mindset should be considered a primary factor or merely one among many. Research across psychology, economics, and sociology often presents different conclusions. Some highlight personal habits, others emphasize structural factors. Perspective 4. Career development. Experts note that consistent professional behavior, punctuality, preparation, communication reflects a mindset of reliability. But they also acknowledge that organizational support, leadership quality, and workplace culture significantly affect outcomes. Perspective 5. Educational researchers emphasize the role of mindset in academic persistence. However, they also recognize that teacher quality, access to resources, and home environment shape learning. Together, these perspectives form a nuanced picture. Mindset matters, but functions within larger systems. The mindset associated with success in the United States is slow to form, quiet in expression, and shaped by steady routines rather than sudden inspiration. Its influence is visible, but it does not operate alone. It interacts with structure, with opportunity, and with long-term patterns of behavior. As this chapter concludes, one question remains: what will history ultimately conclude about this chapter? The story of consistency reaches its end quietly, not with celebration, not with dramatic transformation, but with a simple recognition that the patterns we repeat shape the direction we travel. In the United States, where systems run on schedules, where opportunities unfold over long periods of time, and where progress is often measured in small increments, consistency becomes a steady companion. This closing chapter reflects on that reality, calmly, analytically, without speculation and without emotional exaggeration, just observation, just clarity, just the quiet truth of repeated effort. The journey through practical reality, financial discipline, and mindset reveals a single connecting line: patterns matter. Consistency interacts with many parts of American life: 4D workplace structures, 4D educational routines, financial systems, 4D long-term planning, 4D daily habits, 4D and cultural expectations. Each system operates on cycles. Each one records history. Each one responds to repeated actions rather than isolated moments. 1. The accumulation effect in the United States. Progress often forms through accumulation. Fifth accumulated credit history. Fifth accumulated skill. Fifth accumulated savings. Fifth accumulated trust. Fifth accumulated trust. Fifth accumulated experience. These accumulations, they require steady behavior, small corrections, and long-term patience. This concept is widely recognized across public research in economics, psychology, and organizational behavior, not as a guarantee, but as a visible pattern. 2. And stability creates the conditions for planning. A consistent worker can plan their schedule. A consistent student can plan their study. A consistent saver can plan their finances. A consistent communicator can build professional relationships. These observations appear in countless workplace surveys and educational studies across the U.S. They form part of the national conversation about progress. 3. Navigating uncertainty, although consistency provides structure. Life in the United States still contains uncertainty. 5D, job changes. 5D, economic shifts. 4D, health challenges. 30, unexpected events. Financial discipline, mindset patterns, and daily routines do not eliminate these uncertainties, but they offer tools to navigate them. Public data from financial and educational institutions show that people with established routines often adapt more predictably during disruptions. This does not imply guaranteed outcomes, but reflects observable trends. 4. The interconnected nature of progress success, in the American context, is not defined by one element. It is the interaction of many: 14 opportunity, timing, 40 TBN resources, 40 environment, 40 education, support networks, 40 portibitation support networks. Personal discipline consistency weaves through all of these. It does not replace them, but it aligns with how the systems operate. 5. The quiet role of routine across American culture. Routines often hold significant weight. 40 morning schedules, workday structure, 40 weekly planning, 40 financial cycles, 40 long-term goals. These routines create order, reducing cognitive load, and allowing individuals to focus on progress rather than constant reorganization. Studies in behavioral science, widely accepted and publicly available, show that routines support long-term decision-making by reducing impulsive variations. Again, these are observations, not predictions. As with all subjects in this documentary, financial and life outcomes in the United States invite multiple viewpoints. Perspective 1. Some analysts suggest that consistency is among the strongest contributors to long-term progress. They point to data in workplace performance, financial behavior, and academic research showing predictable relationships between stable habits and cumulative improvement. Perspective 2. Others argue that environmental conditions carry equal or greater weight. They highlight disparities in access to resources, differences in education quality, and variations in regional economic opportunities. Perspective 3. It remains debated whether consistency should be viewed as a universal key, or simply one of many interacting factors. Sociologists, economists, and educators continue to discuss these relationships through research and policy analysis. Perspective 4. Some scholars emphasize the importance of context, the idea that consistent effort must align with viable systems. A routine becomes meaningful when it operates within supportive structures. Perspective 5. Others focus on psychological resilience, noting that consistent habits often provide mental stability, which supports steady decision making. Together, these perspectives form a balanced understanding. Consistency matters, but it is part of a larger, interconnected landscape. As this documentary journey concludes, the message remains calm, steady, and grounded in observable truth. Consistency shapes many forms of progress in the United States. It aligns with financial systems, with workplace routines, with educational structures, and with long-term planning. It does not guarantee success. It does not remove external challenges. It does not act alone, but it interacts quietly, powerfully, and continuously with the systems that shape daily life. The patterns we repeat become the paths we follow. The routines we build become the structure behind our decisions, and the quiet discipline we maintain often becomes the foundation upon which opportunities can grow. As the final reflection settles, one question remains, the same question that closes each chapter: what will history ultimately conclude about this chapter?